joining us for the 2026 Annual General OMSI Elections Vice President Executive Candidates Forum. Before we proceed, permit me to read out the territorial acknowledgement. We are all reminded that the University of Manitoba campuses are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Once again, thank you very much for making it. For our attendees, be reminded that we have a draw right here.
Okay, that's fine.
So
We'll make it work.
As you join us to listen to your respective candidates, do not forget to enter the draw and you stand a chance to win a 50 OMSU gift card. All right. So, to establish the principle of fairness, the questions to our respective candidates are predetermined, and none of them has a prior notice to that. So, whatever response that they are going to give will be, I would believe, the honest responses. And today, as you may already see, we have a very large group of candidates. So, if we have enough time, there will be the opportunity for us to ask questions, and hopefully, we do have some time to ask our candidates the questions that we have for them. Now, for the rule or order of the day, each candidate will quickly introduce themselves and will have 1 minute to answer each question. Is that clear? So, before we proceed with the question, I want to be sure to the candidates, am I loud and clear? All right, great. So, as I mentioned earlier on, the questions are predetermined. Each candidate is going to get the same set of questions. So VP Finance, you get the same set of questions, University Affairs, and it goes on. So we are going to stagger the order. So if the first question goes to, from facing me on the left side, the next question will go to my extreme right. Still on the principle of fairness. So without much ado, we will start with the introduction. So I'll begin with the VP University Affairs, Karis Pittman. All right, so and then in that order. So we start with candidates introducing themselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Karis Pittman. I'm running to be your next VP of University Affairs. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a third year in political science, and I just wanted to say how grateful I am for everyone for showing up to this forum. No matter who wins the elections, I'm sure a lot of important ideas and perspectives will be shared here. So thank you to all of you for keeping yourselves informed, because you make the campus a better place.
Hello, my name is Grace Alendu. I'm also running for Vice President of University Affairs. I am a third-year criminology student and pre-law as well. And I just want to echo Karis's words. I really do appreciate all of you for coming out. I urge you all to ask informed questions, to make informed decisions. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Harisha Mbara. I am one of the candidates for Vice President of University Affairs as well, and as mentioned before me, thank you all for coming out. Voting days are March 5th and 6th, so please make sure that you are engaging with us. Feel free to ask any questions now or on social media platforms. We would be happy to answer. I'm aspiring in global political economy. Thank you.
I'll keep it short and sweet. My name is Aiden Peters. I am a second-year economics student, and I'm running for Vice President of External Affairs.
Hey everyone, I'm Vivian Pinero, and I'm also running for the position of Vice President of External Affairs. I'm grateful for everyone that is here today to hear all my ideas, all that I have to say, and why I am running for this campaign. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Deborah Adeoti, aka Gojo. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the strongest. I'm running for Vice President Student Life.
Hello everyone, my name is Hussein Shukar, and I'm running to be your next OMSU Vice President Student Life. I've had 2 terms of experience under my belt as an executive in OMSU Student Clubs, and looking forward to have this talk with you today.
Hi everyone, my name is Manasa Rajesh. My pronouns are she, her. I'm running to be your next Vice President Student Life. I'm majoring in English right now.
Hello everybody, my name is Aminat Arugudade, and I am a third year major in finance, also known as the now vacant VPFO for the BSA and former director for MSA as a media director. And I'm looking forward to the questions you guys have. I hope I have the right answers, and I really hope you make informed decisions.
Hi everyone, I'm Cameron Provo. I'm a finance marketing major at Asper. Last year I was board director on the finance committee, and I hope to bring a bit more responsible government to UMSL.
Hello everyone, my name is Kai Jassel. I'm a third-year honors student in economics and econometrics, and I'm running again for Vice President of Finance and Operations.
Hi everyone, my name is Neha and I'm also a third-year Asper student. I'm majoring in finance and accounting, and I bring a diverse background in terms of club engagement on campus since last 2 years, and also running club from founding and running a single-handed club, and also a very good background in case competitor, representing Asper in different faculties or in different case comp nationally as well. And I'm very happy to be here and to see all of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Can we give it up for our candidates? All right. So before we proceed with our set of questions to our audience, if any of you have questions, you may come to this very table. Jenny is here, and then she will take note of your question. And to the candidates, I'm pretty sure by the time you get to the mid part, you may have forgotten the question, so you may please ask me to repeat the question. So. Now, starting with our very first question with Vivian. Okay. So, candidates for university. Yes. Yeah, university affairs. So, Vivian, question 1, and this goes to all candidates. So, tell us something you completed.
I'm not a candidate, sorry. I'm not a candidate for university affairs. It's external affairs.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Thanks for clarifying that. So, external affairs. But it's the same question to every candidate. All right. So, tell us something you completed in the last year that merits your election or re-election.
Thank you for the question. In the past year, I've been on the ASBC, Art Student Body Council, as a senator. I ran in the elections sometime in January of last year. And I've been on many committees, having a vote to many decisions that happen structurally with the University of Manitoba. I've also been very engaged with ASBC, volunteering at events, organizing events with other councillors on the board, on the council. Also, I've worked provincially in a constituency office with an MLA in the government of Manitoba. I've been able to address student constituency needs and also collect media reports so the MLA, the minister, can understand what people want, need in the community, in the constituency. I've also been on the UMSU governance committee, having a vote as well to understand UMSU's structure and having think pieces on what would work best in progress of the board. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Vivian. Moving on to Aiden.
Thank you. I'm going to sort of focus on 3 major areas. Within university, I've mainly been a part of the Economic Society over the last year, first serving as their Indigenous representative, and now before the election as the Vice President of the Economic Society. Outside of university, I have been very involved in something called the Youth Parliament of Manitoba, where I was a long-time volunteer for many years. Recently, in the last year, an initiative I've helped complete for them is ensuring our Indigenous Scholarship Program actually has the funds it needs, because we haven't been doing a lot of fundraising for it in the past year, and I now serve on the Board of Directors for the Youth Parliament of Manitoba. Within the university, over the last year, I was sitting on the Governance Committee as their Vice Chair, helping oversee, policy proposals, bylaw changes to the student union.
All right, thank you very much, Aiden. Now to Harishan.
Hi. So I'm Harishan Bada. A lot of my previous experience on campus has looked like connecting campus to federal level branches. For example, starting a UNICEF group here on campus, which brought us under a campus clubs branch. So we are officially on a federal level now working with UNICEF Canada, working directly on an international and national level. Aside from that, I've taken various culture initiatives on campus, but I feel like the most important part that makes me best fit for this role is from what I've been doing for our province. So for our province, I've worked with ministers and various MLAs as a youth advocate. This has been seen through my involvement on Manitoba Student Advisory Council, where I advocated for 4 major policies: food and nutrition programs. I've started looking into what AI parameters look like for our classrooms, what technology usage looks like for in our classrooms, and aside from that, also initiatives with product availability, accessibility, and resources within our classrooms as well. So that's a bit about me, and aside from that, I've also co-founded various councils.
All right, thank you, Harishan. Candidates, be mindful, it's just a minute. Okay, so now to Grace Ilendu.
I just want to start by speaking about my on-campus experience. Before I decided to run for this position, I was the president of the UN Pre-Law Society, which I have a huge passion for. I brought judges, lawyers, paralegals, legal assistants, border enforcement officers to our campus here to provide our students and our members with access to the legal field. I know a lot of students have the worry about what is going to be my career outside of university. So providing opportunities for our students to have access to people who are already within their chosen field, to begin to gain connection, build networking. As well, I also volunteer with the annual Ending Violence Against Women Coalition. I was able to go to California last year for this, and this year I'll be going to Louisiana in May for this conference as well. So I really do believe in advocacy, and it pertains to all students, whether that be women, trans individuals. I just want to make sure that students on campus feel that they have somebody who has done the work, who wants to work with them to build a better and safe campus. So yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Grace. Now to Karis.
For sure. First and foremost, I love campus life. I sit on like a lot of different student bodies and clubs, including the Art Student Body Council, or I did sit, and Alpha Phi sorority, you have Anime, the Poli-Sci Students Association, and the Indigenous Circle of Empowerment. Additionally, I have a lot of procedural background, so I did sit on UMSU's Judicial Board, as well as I was their secretary, so I'm very familiar with the governing documents and the procedures. Additionally, I am an undergraduate research assistant for the U of M, so I'm very close with administration and our professors, and I've just met so many students and student leaders from different walks of life that have really inspired me, and I want to make a big difference. So.
All right, thank you very much, Karis. Now to Manasa.
Over the past year, I've intentionally taken on roles that strengthen student life and student community in different ways. As part of the Women's Center, I was able to help organize a leadership conference where we brought in women in leadership to talk with students and connect with them. I'm also an associate women's rep at the ASPC, and I'm also a mentor at the International Center where I help new international students to help adjust to university life in a completely different country. I've also put in over 260 hours of volunteer work to the university. This is not just numbers, I believe it is a proof of my commitment and consistency. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Manasa. Hussein.
Hello everyone. So for the past year, obviously as the Vice President of Students for Justice in Palestine, one of my main goals was to build as many alliances as possible on campus, getting more and more involved and just be connected with the students, to have those talking points, try to be able to have those conversations, see where we connect and where we disagree. It didn't only stop with that. Obviously, it went ahead to backing other student groups into their campaigns, whether it was the Women's Center when it came to facing the pro-life protests on our campus. So I made myself very accessible to different communities on campus and just being involved and being just all over the place essentially. And this is what I want to maintain in doing if elected into the VPSR role.
All right, thank you very much, Hussein. Now to Deborah.
In the past year, I have been very active in various student groups such as ASPC, volunteering for a lot of their community events. I have also volunteered as a campaign manager in the last year's elections, and I also became the avatar by mastering all the 4 elements.
All right, thank you, Deborah. Now to Niha.
Thank you for the question. Over the last 2 years, I've been engaged with Hindu Student Council as one of the director of finance, and with the Asper BAA as the director of events, and also the podcast coordinator with Active Minds. And I also serve as the president for Nepali Student Association. And because I'm a very finance person, so I have been competing case comp for the Asper, and I have finished two podium finishes last year. And I've been into a couple of finance trips this year as well. So overall, it has given me the experience of how the campus is, how the student is having life on campus, and it has really integrated me, the finance in me, and I always wanted to have something aspiring career. So that's why I was always interested to be running in this position, and I'm actually glad that I finally want to candidate for that.
In time, thank you. Yeah, Kai.
So last year I ran for BPFO.
Kai, can you get the mic closer?
Hello. So I was a candidate for BPFO last year, and even though I lost, I still decided to run again. I think that too many candidates only give it one shot. And in the past year, I spoke to a number of students, both whom supported me and those who didn't, about what they wanted to see differently with HUMSU. And I still think the issues of the day and change is important enough that I decided to run again. I've been, in the past year, I joined the executive of 2 different student clubs. Before that, I was a student at Dalhousie University, where I was a club leader, so I know what it's like to work with student unions across the country. I've been working my day job for the last 3 years for a landscaping company, which gives me perspective outside of school as well. And I have a lot of organizational and financial experience working for provincial and federal parties.
All right, thank you very much, Kai. Now to Cameron.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. So you are to tell us something you completed in the last year that merits your election or re-election.
In the past year, I would probably say my election as an advocacy rep to the Commerce Students Association. That basically meant that I went to being the student senator for the CSA. I sat on the University Disciplinary Committee and a board director at UMSU, where I volunteered for the finance committee, and I suppose I was voluntold for the selections committee. Yeah, that would basically be my biggest accomplishment in the past year. It was a very good time.
And now for the very last candidate for this round, Aminat.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Aminat again. I'm currently with the BSC Black Student Community as the VP Finance and Operations, where I help gain 15% extra funding for the community. And even though the community wasn't active last year, the beginning of last year, towards the end, we became more active after a like-minded executive joined hands and created, very beautiful accomplishments for the community, including being the first ever Western Canadian to raise Pan-African flags, as well as working and volunteering with CANU as well. Opened my eyes. I am a part of the Alpha Phi sorority as well, as part of my civic group clubs and stuff. And I work with CANU. I said that before. I work with CANU, and I worked with a startup to get into market. I worked with Nectar Teas. It's now in market, and I work with their financial teams and executives. And yeah, I hope you guys ask more questions. Yeah.
Okay, on time. All right, thank you very much, Kanye. That was our very first question. Now to our next question, we will be starting with Aiden. And the very question goes to all candidates. It's a very long one, but as I mentioned earlier, you can always ask me to repeat it. All right. So, how do you plan to keep track of your promises and keep in touch with the board of directors as well as with the general student body after you settle into the day-to-day work?
Yeah, so that's actually quite hard for external affairs, because really my promises are all based on what we can get from the government. And that's really sort of where my philosophy with approaching the government comes from. It's about pressuring, applying pressure where we can, and that's through protests, through social media campaigns, through media campaigns as well, working with partners at different news broadcasters. And that's how we can sort of stay on track with the promises. Staying in touch with students, I would like to see more encouragement of students to come to board of directors meetings in general. I think that there's a lack of that. I know people find these board of directors meetings long for the people who do sit on it, but I think it would be good to have more students showing up and expressing their voices. Yeah, I believe that was the question.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much, Aiden. Now to Vivian.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Certainly. How do you plan to keep track of your promises and keep in touch with the board of directors as well as with the general student body after you settle into the day-to-day work?
Yes, so a lot of my promises are policies are very student-centered, and I believe in a process-oriented leadership where at every stage, at every point of developing and working on my policies, I engage students, whether it's through regular advocacy updates, and also there will be the need for regular data collection to analyze what students want and need at every point, and so just continuing to lobby for the things that we need, and at any point where I would need, the student body as a whole, though I am the representative, I want to always hope that we are on the same page on a lot of things that I'm working on, and so advocacy updates and inviting students to be on the board of director meetings to know what I'm working on, the progress that I've made, and I hope that I can continue to engage students in a lot of the advocacy work that goes on in UMSU.
All right, thank you very much, Vivian. Deborah.
Could you repeat the question?
How do you plan to keep track of your promises and keep in touch with the board of directors as well as with the general student body after you settle into the day-to-day work?
Right, so it'll definitely be difficult if there's only one of me, so I feel like I could use some shadow clones, and as for the keeping track of policies, I'll use a spreadsheet.
We say,
Alright, to solve this issue, here's the thing. Within my campaign, there are no promises. Why? Because I don't want to give you empty promises. Every community has their own needs, and it's quite naive of me to come in and say, oh, well, this one solution is going to work for all communities. So alternatively, what I want to do is maintaining one-on-one meetings with community leaders, faculty leaders, or meetings with entire associations, so that everyone on those boards could have the opportunity to have those conversations with me, and according to those conversations, we're able to allocate the necessary resources and the support channels that are appropriate for them, right? In addition, one of the main areas that we want to focus on is the reimbursement process. As an executive, it's been hell receiving the reimbursement for our students. So this is definitely something that we want to work on if elected to office. And finally, the introduction of a culture week to celebrate the incredible diversity that we have on our campus.
all right, thank you, Mr. Now, Manasa.
Hi. Yes, that's a really important question because accountability doesn't disappear once the elections are over. First, I plan to create an internal roadmap that, at the beginning of my term that outlines all my key policies and goals. Second, transparency is important. I would provide regular updates to the board of directors and the student body through reports, social media updates, and open forums. Third, staying connected requires presence. I would make sure that I attend all community and club events because by being present, I will understand their needs and concerns. And finally, I would maintain clear and open communication channels through designated office hours, feedback forms, or consistent outreach to community reps. For me, accessibility means structure, transparency, and accessibility. I want students to feel that they can reach out to me at any time with any concerns they have.
All right, thank you, Manasa. Aminat.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
How do you plan to keep track of your promises and keep in touch with the board of directors as well as with the general student body after you settle into the day-to-day work?
So basically, firstly, my promises are what I, as a student before being a candidate, wish was present. So you don't forget what you're passionate about, what you see, the things you want to fix, every single moment in that office, waiting to hear from students, waiting to enact, these policies that I'm super passionate about is a second not to be wasted. I am always in front of students, listening, wanting to hear input from students. I am just one person. While I am skilled, I believe, to represent you and to give you what you want and what I believe you deserve, I also want to hear ideas from you because I am also just one mind, and together, different minds, they create big ideas, and we can create big things together. So don't think about a grade or a wall between the executive and the student. Think of us as one person. I'm here to work for you, with you, and always listen to you.
All right, thank you, Amina. Cameron.
Hi everyone, I plan on maintaining my accountability primarily through student engagement and, primarily through student engagement and accessibility. So one of those things would be on our Instagram perhaps having a summary of quarterly reports and financial statements. Right now it's kind of hard to find them on the UMSU website. They're behind a few clicks and the SharePoint's a bit buggy right now. So I would like to improve that, as well as through student engagement, referendums for more of the contentious points. So you actually see, hey, like this is the economist he's going to actually do. And through consent of the government, I suppose we would be having that authorization to go forward with those things. So you can kind of track it that way as well.
All right, thank you, Cameron. Kai.
So there are two very specific things I would do. The first is engage more with the student paper of Manitoban. I really enjoy journalism. I used to be a journalism student, and I think it would be a useful exercise to do a year-end interview around December to track progress. Also, I don't graduate till 2028, so if I get elected this year, I would commit to running again for re-election so that voters can hold me accountable. I won't just graduate and disappear and never be heard from again.
All right, thank you, Kai. Neha.
Thank you for the question. Just being a finance girl, I never start anything without my Excel and with a timeline. And I strongly believe that being in a finance role means that I'm accountable to what I do. Whatever the money that I manage for the student, maybe for their fee or maybe for their fee structure for the UMSU, I always rely on my accountability, and being responsible for that money also means that whatever the policies I will be implementing or whatever the policies that I will be having in my plate, are the students liking that policies? Like, are they suitable for the students, right? So I will definitely have few of the coffee chats or the very accessibility or accountability that I have focus in this area, so that I can directly talk to these students and learn about them, or maybe make few changes on what the more greater students are learning for. Because if we talk about students, it's not only 1,000, but it's over 20,000 students on campus, and I think accountability is very important for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Karis.
For sure. Unfortunately, I don't have shadow clones, but a big thing I'm running on is transparency, and like, what does transparency look like? For me, is the info easy to find, and is it easy to understand? During my time on Judicial Board, I understand that the governing documents is like a very long, full of legal jargon, and students shouldn't have to dig through motions to understand what's going on in their union. So I definitely utilize social media. I'd like to utilize the UMSU website, and just generally make myself more accessible to students across both Fort Garry and Bannatyne campus. And yeah.
I just want to start off by saying one of my policies right now, actually, that you can find on my platform is plain language Senate decisions through platforms like Instagram, through newsletters, right, through our emails, through anything that students engage with on a regular basis. So it already is an interest of mine. I want to take these complex, really difficult to understand decisions and make them succinct and digestible to students on campus. I also want to bring us back to my experience with pre-law. I ran in that elections last year, and I kept to my promises. I lobbied for LSAT discounts, lobbied to bring judges, lawyers, legal professionals to our students, and I've completed all my promises that I made to our members the previous year. So I'm someone who keeps to my word. I'm not going to go back on it. I also do believe that transparency is an important thing, and so as we continue our way through these policies that I put forward, I want to keep students in the know so they understand what I'm pushing for, what the update is. And lastly, I do believe that meetings and persistency, never giving up, keep driving until we get what we aim to do is the goal.
All right, thank you, Grace. And last, certainly but not the least, Harisha.
We're sharing, so the mic is getting hard. I think I've been preaching this time and time again. It is not just about representation, it is about actual implementation. As Vice President of University Affairs, I feel like one of the things that we saw happening this year that worked like a charm was having newsletters go out from your VPUA. My goal is to amplify this a lot, not just have newsletters where students are getting like direct information about here's what's happening, here's what's been accomplished, here's how it benefits you, here's how you can access it. Direct information. No one should have to go try researching how to find it. Aside from that, obviously, office hours, it's on my posters. I'll say it again, let's connect. I value connection with students over anything. More importantly, it is for the students. So it's important that in case if there's questions, concerns, comments that are coming up, things by students that they want to see being done, it is important that I'm directly approachable. That will be happening. And aside from that, I think it's just important to mention that this connection is what goes on to ensuring that I'm fulfilling it. Thank you.
Time out. Thank you, Harishan. Thank you all for the amazing responses. And to our audience, I would want to believe you are taking notes. And you're all reminded that if you have questions, just come to the table and then Judy will take note of your questions. Now, moving on to the third question. We'll be starting with Manasa. Ready? And it's still, the question goes to all candidates. What is your first goal to accomplish if elected? 1 minute.
I want to establish a clear structure and momentum early on in the term. So that would mean focusing on initiatives that have immediate impact, like improving the communication around club funding timeline and also processes for community reps. Some of these initiatives don't take an entire semester to implement, and that would also reduce a lot of stress for all the student leaders involved. At the same time, I would also immediately start laying groundwork for my larger initiatives such as the faculty-based networking events. These require collaboration with faculties and long-term coordination, so starting those early on will ensure that I can execute them properly at later on in the term. My approach would be to deliver early wins that builds trust while actively developing larger projects that also create lasting impact. Thank you.
Right on time. Thank you, Manasa. Hussein.
Well, I will continue this similar work that I've been doing throughout the year, which was building communications with people. Although now that I will be in an elected position, what I would do is hit the ground running by maintaining these meetings that I would want to have with community leaders and faculty leaders, just to have an idea where they are at right now. I know elections are happening out right now. I want to build better connections with the new elected people, just to have a general idea of where do we want to go from here, what are the services, what are the campaigns that we want to pursue, and how can AMSU support their students in the best way possible throughout this year. We want to make the student voices heard, hence the campaign, Your Voice, Our Campus, and we're going to do some serious work this year.
All right, thank you, Hussein. Deborah.
Can you repeat the question?
What is your first goal to accomplish if elected?
My first goal would be to make the student clubs and groups more accessible. I find that a lot of students have trouble finding where to join or how to start because normally in the first week you only see the clubs for like a week or so. So I want to encourage students to join clubs and express themselves and be limitless.
Thank you, Deborah. Vivian.
A lot of the things that I've promised really does take momentum and strategic effort to working on advocacy. And one pressing issue that we are facing on our campus is the transit system. And about 2-3 weeks ago, we celebrated the Commuter Appreciation Week, and I've had conversations with students who do not necessarily see how students are being appreciated with the kind of transit network that we have. For one, buses get cancelled and they're full and just pass by students. It's a very new transit system. And the earlier that we communicate the inefficiencies of it, the better. And so that's going to be the first thing that I start working on: collecting data reports, conducting surveys, scheduling meetings with city partners, with the city of Winnipeg, to work on it as soon as possible to make transportation easy for students, so they do not have. So they are not denied the access to the education that they pay for. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Aiden.
Yeah, so the first thing that I'm really going to focus on is creating a union of unions, if you will, with the different student associations and unions of, different post-secondary institutions across Manitoba. Because to be able to advocate for changes in transit, we need to know what other places in the city are dealing with. To be able to really push on things like a tuition freeze, we need to make sure we have the power of all these different post-secondary institutions behind us when we are trying to negotiate and pressure the government. So yeah, absolutely the first thing we need to do is have a formalized way to, create proposals with other student unions and post-secondary education groups in Manitoba.
Thank you, Aiden. Harisha.
Thank you. I feel like before I even answer that, I should mention that the first and most important overall goal is to have campus a more productive space and welcoming space, welcoming and safe space for everyone. So out of all my policies, I feel like the first thing that needs to happen right off the bat is looking into security. Until our campus isn't a secure space for everyone at all hours, we cannot look into how it's a safer space mentally, emotionally, and also welcoming. So right off the bat, the first thing that needs to get addressed is that. Aside from that, also, I should be working on smaller level initiatives that can get done more immediately that are under my authority, and then looking into initiatives that come after that require more advocacy, for example, housing, and also looking into how AI integration within our classrooms is working. So getting what comes under me done first, while also making sure that I'm advocating for the bigger projects, including in the time. Thank you.
You made it. Grace.
Yes, I just want to start by saying the first thing that I do want to start working on if elected is the department-wide AI standard. I've spoken to so many students in the past 2 days alone, some who are in misconduct right now, some who have feared misconduct, and what's happening is there's inconsistency and there's confusion. Creating this department-wide standard, which means for all of you who are here today, is that if you take 2 courses within the same department, you will not have a differing AI guideline from prof to prof. It will be a universal standard within that department, and it alleviates just one bit of stress that most students face. So I do want to get into the office and start working on this to give students this result, which is clarity. It's going to be reassurance that you don't have to always worry about professor this, professor that. It's just one standard, and it's one less thing that I can take off of your plate.
Thank you, Grace. Karis.
I don't suspect that my policies will happen in a vacuum. I will probably be working on multiple things at the same time, but if I had to prioritize one, it would definitely be advocating the university to absolve the mold situation in student residencies. That, in my mind, is like a health crisis. That should not be the case. Students should not be breathing in mold particles from their air conditionings. And after that, I would probably table and make myself available to students and ask what they would like prioritized. I know that something that I'm campaigning on is more wellness stations, so access to resource aid like mental health resources, personal hygiene products, stuff like that. I know that's been popular, but yeah, I'm open-minded.
Okay, thank you, Karis. Neha.
Thank you for the question. So when I start with prioritizing my goal, I think that is one of my policies that prioritizes essentials. And what I mean by essentials, that as a VPFO, I think a huge amount of money also goes towards the scholarships and bursaries that students look for. And even for like international students or domestic students, I feel like even $1,000, even $500, it's a huge addition to their maybe pocket money or anything. So I feel like that will be my first goal that I want to reach, that I want to protect those scholarships and bursaries that are going for, and maybe increase the amount if possible. I'm not sure about that, but if possible, I'll definitely advocate for that, so that when the students will come in fall term going forward, then they will have this amount that they can access for. So this will be my first priority that I want to achieve in my term.
Thank you, Neha. Now to Kai.
So the first thing that I would do that is realistic and that I have total control over is I would not take any of the benefits that the executives get. I wouldn't take the free parking or the cell phone allowance or use any of the discounts. And I'd encourage the other executives that are with me to save students that money, and we could use it on any other program or more wisely rather than give that to the executives and myself on top of the already very high salary.
Thank you, Kai. Cameron.
My first priority would probably be to find a payment schedule for our liabilities so I can understand how liquid we need to be in order to have the cash on hand to pay for all of the things that we owe. And I'd also like to at first have a referendum so that we can understand what students want for the democratization of our clubs so we can actually move forward or not. And there's no way from the start what we're doing with that.
Lastly, Abinat.
So the first thing I would focus on is transparency that actually makes sense, coupled with sustainability. So most of the students don't know they pay UMSU member fees. I've talked to a lot of first years and half of some second year students. They don't know what that is. They don't know how much they pay. They don't know how it's broken down. And when they look at financial statements online, they don't even understand what the numbers mean. My promise and my policies and the support I'm providing is going to be student-friendly financial document that explains what budget numbers actually translate to in real life, and explanations to where fundings that are not completely used are going into, and if they're allocated, reallocated, and what the initiative we're using them on is. Sustainability in terms of things that are positively influencing the students don't need to be caught in. That's things like the free breakfast. It influences the student positively. I've seen it, I've talked to students and they say they look forward to it during the first week of school. That's something I am not planning on cutting, and it's something I look forward to sustaining for the long time to come, and any other executive after me can take over. But yeah, that's one of the first policies amongst many.
All right, thank you all candidates for those responses to the third question. Now we are moving on to the position-specific questions. And we will be starting with the VP University Affairs. So this is position-specific question. It doesn't go to all candidates, so just be mindful of that. And as always, you can ask me to repeat the question. So now, VP University Affairs, starting with Karis. You confirm you are running for VP University Affairs?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So Karis, what would you do to develop the relationship between UMSU and the university and advocate for the interests of the union?
Yeah, for sure. So during my time as a student research assistant, I have worked closely with a lot of professors and administration, and most of the time the professors do have the best interests of the students in mind, most of the time. But I want to create a very good working relationship between UMSU and administration. I know there's a lot of things that students are unhappy with, and I want to advocate for that, but also keep in mind that it would be easier to advocate for that if we had a good relationship with administration.
All right, thank you, Karis. Now to Grace.
Can you just repeat the question, please?
Yes. What would you do to develop the relationship between UMSU and the university and advocate for the interests of the union?
Fantastic. I do want to start by saying, again, through all of my tabling these past couple days, I've been saddened to hear that a lot of students do not view UMSU very positively. Some will say they have no clue what UMSU does for them, the benefits they hold within UMSU, why they're even paying to be a part of UMSU. What is the gain here? And so that is a huge problem. For our students to not understand what we serve them for, there is a huge disconnect there. So I think if elected as VPUA, my main priority is to begin to bridge this very damaged gap. Students want to feel that they are electing people who are for them. They want to understand what they're even going to be doing in office, and they want to understand the benefits that we can bring to them. We cannot do work without student support. If they don't support us, we don't have their back, we don't have anything. So it has to be first and foremost the students. We have to educate them, we have to show proof of the work that we are actually doing to benefit them. If there's no proof, there is no trust.
Thank you, Grace. And lastly, Harishan for VP University Affairs.
Thank you. I feel like one of the biggest things that needs to go out as a reminder for both all of the UMSU candidates, actually, regardless of what position, and the university administration, is that we're here for the students. So immediately, if we're talking about a bridge, it comes later that what bridges are we making. It comes first to strengthen the bridge that we need to remember the fact that everything we do should be with students at the center of every interest. I plan on doing this in a way that it's already envisioned in some of my policies. These policies don't just benefit students, instead they bring University of Manitoba on federal level placement, which also is a really, really good thing for the university's image when it comes to the rest of our nation and the world. So in terms of that, I feel like automatically my policies are something which best interest students and already seek the interest of our administration team. Aside from that, once these bridges are sort of revamped, it's so important that we're advocating to administration about direct initiatives that students want to see, such as security and decompression spaces on campus that are, again, all more student-centered. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsha. Thank you, VP University Affairs candidate. Now, to VP External Affairs. This is your question. What would you do to partner with businesses to attract more partners and sponsorships for OMSU?
I don't think there's anything in particular I would do. That's really not a priority of me in the position of external affairs. My main priority is trying to get things from the government, because I think that has been what has really been lacking for OMSU in recent years. Not necessarily focusing on external businesses. So that's all.
Thank you, Aiden. To Vivian.
Please, can you repeat the question?
So, what would you do to partner with businesses to attract more partners and sponsorships for OMSU?
Focusing on one of my policies, which is to support student mentors, OMSU has a reputation of collaborating with small businesses and getting programs to support students, and I want to build on that for student renters. And I believe in coordinated provincial advocacy, and I want to work more with the government, partner more with the government to put rent caps for students that, for student renters basically. And also I believe in relationship building, where it really matters as a strategic effort to build relationships with the government, to understand where student perspectives are coming from, and at worst case scenario we can always put pressure on the government to get what we want out of them to favor students. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Now, moving to VP Student Life. What would you do? So, first off, starting with Deborah. Question goes to all candidates, VP External Affairs. What would you do to support the community reps to strengthen student clubs and associations and be able to engage students in their communities?
I would increase their funding and make them table every week.
Hussein.
Alright, so something that's very important that I'm gonna be doing, I'm about to sound like a broken record right now, but as I said, is just maintaining those open communication lines, being very transparent on what's happening with OMSU, what are the plans that OMSU is gonna be doing. One main thing is definitely showing up to their events, nothing speaks louder than actions, and so just being there at those events for those students really shows you that you're committed into doing some serious work for those communities. In addition, I want to be very transparent when it comes to the Member Services Committee. I want to focus on making the language clearer when it comes to what is considered an eligible and an ineligible refund. So these are very, very important issues that students currently face, and we're definitely hoping to fix in the coming days.
Thank you, Hussein. Manasa.
First, I would like to ensure clear communication and direct access to support for community reps. Community reps shouldn't have to struggle to get support, and they should also know where exactly to go to and who exactly to reach out to. Second, I would create structured opportunities for collaboration between community reps. Often communities face similar issues, but they operate in isolation. Third, I would focus on equipping community reps with tools that they need to engage effectively. Community reps often step into their roles without knowing what's coming ahead. And I think I want to start a week-long workshop at the beginning of the term to better equip community reps and set them up for confidence instead of confusion. So I will be consistent with my communication, I will give them timely response and have clear communication channels.
Thank you, VP Student Life candidates. And now to the most contested position, VP Finance and Operations. Ready to handle OMSU finances, right? So now to your specific question. What is a long-term goal you would like to pursue to ensure the fiscal stability of OMSU? Starting with Aminat.
Okay, so one thing as the VPF or PSC that I've encountered representing my community is one statement that every other community executive has said, and that's they had to pay out of pocket for after waiting for approvals. After a long, this is something that's been happening not last year, not last 2 years. It's something that needs to be dealt with, especially in a very diverse university like the University of Manitoba, where we have our communities, our clubs, our student groups representing us and being a strong part of like our lives and stuff. So one thing I would want to do is ensure that funding approvals happen on time and prevent last minute scrambling. So as a VPFO, I've always wondered how life would have been if I had monthly check-ins with my VPFO or any financial handling personnel of different groups. How would it have been? So I want to change that. I want to plan out monthly check-ins with VPFOs from different communities to guide them on forms and approvals they have to submit.
Thank you, Aminat. Now to Cameron.
Can you repeat the question, please?
What is a long-term goal you would like to pursue to ensure the fiscal stability of OMSU?
To ensure the fiscal stability of OMSU, I'd like to at least take some of our cash on hand and invest it into into long-term investments. For even last year, according to our audited financial statements, we profited $1.3 million. So we're in a very good financial situation right now. If we invest it smart, then we can actually continue that profitability or sustainability into the future, as well as ESG sustainability reporting. I'd like to implement that so that we can be environmentally friendly. We're not just financially stable, we're also socially stable, so that we can have at least good policies and have people be able to see where we are at in terms of our social good or harm.
Thank you, Cameron. Kai.
So one thing I'm running on in this campaign is to create a plan by the end of the decade for UMSU to own University Center. I think that's really important for a number of reasons. Right now, UMSU doesn't make money from the businesses like Starbucks and the new Popeyes. It only makes money from the UMSU ones upstairs and GPAs. If we were to own the building, we'd be able to have a new revenue source which could provide more services and lessen the burden of the UMSU fee. We could also use the spaces on the upper floors of UC for more club rooms if you wanted to turn them into that. In terms of a long-term plan, I think it's something that we need to do because compared to other student unions that own their buildings, they're in a much more healthier position revenue-wise than UMSU is.
Thank you, Kai. Niha.
I love that question actually, sorry for my voice. So for the financial stability of the OMSU, so when we talk about OMSU, I think it covers many areas, for example the clubs and the many students as well. And the budget is a very important thing for our VPFO, and when we talk about budget, it means that we know where the money is coming from and we also know where the money is going, because maybe let's say for example we have 5 different items that we have an expense, but maybe they are not kind of like priorities right now, and I'll make sure that I'll work on making sure that we have the expenses or the money that are based on the priorities and not just they are there. And also definitely, I know that one candidate also said that that we will love to invest whatever the excess amount of funding that OMSU has so that we are getting the most of the budget that we collect from, most of the money that we collect from students, and they are going back to students again.
All right, thank you very much to all candidates for your responses to your specific question. And then this brings us to the end of the questions that we have for you. So to wrap up, we'll be taking the closing statements from each of the candidates, and it's still a minute to do that. First, and now to Karis. Your closing statement.
For sure. So as I've been talking about in my campaign, I'm campaigning on transparency, advocacy, and accessibility. I have a lot of experience both within student clubs and behind the scenes in OMSU's judicial board and behind the scenes with administration and professors. If those are some things you value, vote for Karis Pittman, VPUA.
Thank you, Karis. Grace.
I do want to start off by saying I will be tabling right after this right here at University Center from now until about 2:30, so if you have any questions, please come meet me over there. But my policies are very simple. I want to remove confusion and I want to bring you clarity. That starts with building that relationship. You can't even revamp it because it hasn't even been built. It needs to be destroyed and rebuilt. That's number one. I want to build relationship with students and let you know what UMSU actually does for you. Then I want to bring you clarity through my department-wide AI standard policy. Also, that ties into my next policy, which is to reduce the shorter wait time for AI misconduct cases. If we can have that department-wide standard, we can reduce the amount of students who are getting into misconduct for things like Grammarly, because we don't even realize that for some professors, that is use of AI. It's very simple to find yourself in that position. I'm all about clarity, not about confusion. That's what I want to bring to you. If you want to learn more, please come see me after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace Harishan.
Thank you. I've said it once, I'll say it again. The overall long-term goal is to have campus be an emotionally, physically, and mentally productive and welcoming space for everyone. My policies have been voicing this time and time again. You, whether you're an international student, a domestic student, deserve to have a campus that's housing is accountable, security is accessible, you have access to things like decompression spaces on campus, AI in classrooms is being integrated in the right ways considering that this is our current world technology, and aside from that, you're also in a campus that's welcoming to you in the most important ways. You deserve a Vice President of University Affairs that is able to lead with clarity and energy in every single action, is able to hold themselves accountable, and is able to give you the platform to hold them accountable as well. This being said, I'll keep it short and sweet. Vote for Harishan for Vice President of University Affairs. Horns up, Bisons.
Thank you, Harishan. Now moving on to VP External Affairs. Aiden.
I believe this is really the perfect time and opportunity we have to be, fully pressuring the government. We're looking at 2 upcoming election campaigns municipally and provincially, maybe even a third, potentially federally, there's rumors of. So this is the perfect time to really be working with any partner unions we can and be applying pressure in sort of my 3 main focus areas, which are provincially a tuition freeze, municipally improved public transit that's a bit more student-based than it currently is, and then federally about increasing student grants and aid. I will be tabling at Migazi Agamic right shortly after this, so I encourage you to come stop by and ask me more about how I plan to implement that. Thank you.
Thank you, Aiden. Vivian.
First, I'm going to say thank you to everyone that has stayed this far. First of all, I see this position as Vice President of External Affairs as a bridge between student realities and government decision making. And my goal is to make that bridge stronger and more efficient for students. I want to focus on student-centered policies that work for students and are very efficient for students. Also, my policies, based on my experiences as a student leader, being able to work in government in the past year and understanding how policy work, how advocacy work, I've been able to create policies that are very student-centered in the sense of improving the public transit and making it more efficient, increasing the bus frequency on major routes during peak hours, whether it's international student healthcare, through coordinated provincial advocacy and building coalitions with other student unions, with CASA, with MAPS, and so many much more. Supporting student renters, making education more predictable for you and your institution, being stable, making sure that financial aid matches the cost of living standards in Manitoba. Thank you so much.
All right, now to VP Student Life, Deborah.
Thank you all for coming. I will be tabling from 2:30 to 4:30 afterwards in UMSU. Be limitless.
Hussein.
Alright, so at the top, I just want to say I want this campus to work for the students, not the other way around. I'm dedicated to provide the transparency and the right of the entitled reimbursements that the students deserve, and then the ability to showcase their skills and their cultures with the Culture Week that I want to propose. If you want is VPSL that is bold and has strong advocacy skills and is willing to face all kinds of repercussion just to ensure that the student voices are heard. Hassan Shukr is your person for this. Thank you very much.
Manasa.
Student life should be fun and social, but at the same time it should help students grow and feel supported. I'm focused on building that support in a realistic way. I'm so excited to meet with more of you over the next few weeks, and Please feel free to ask me about my policies during my tabling times or on my Instagram. Thank you so much for coming here. Board Manasa for VPSN.
Thank you, VP Student Life candidates. Now, VP Finance and Operations, your final statement, starting with Amina.
So AMSU is not, it's a non-profit student union. Our purpose is to maximize profit or inflate prices. Our purpose is not to maximize profit, or inflate prices at AMSU businesses. The finance role exists to allocate student funds in ways that best serve students, and yet we continue to see student services shrinking, the budget shrinking, while salaries and marketing and extravagant businesses and events grows. That's backwards. Student services are not optional, they're the foundation of why AMSU exists. Sustainability doesn't begin and end with the election season. True sustainability means the strengthening student services for funding, making access to funds easier for clubs and communities, and supporting advocacy initiatives like international student healthcare, expanding food bank support, hardship fundings, and bursary. Take Christmas hampers and the free breakfast program. They aren't nice extras. They're lifelines for students struggling with rising tuition, increasing textbook costs, growing security fees, and basic question of how to afford lunch on campus. Vote Aminat Aruguladi for VP Finance and Operations.
Thank you, Aminat. Cameron.
Hi everyone, I hope you find my background and ideas of responsible government compelling. If you are curious as to more details, my Instagram has some, and my LinkedIn goes a bit more in depth as to the math and financials behind my decisions. I hope to see you all turn out with the polls. Have a good day.
Kai.
First, thank you everyone who came, and for those who stayed the full hour. Sadly, we didn't get to go too much into depth with all my policies. We're going to have 8 things, but I'll be tabling throughout the campus and at Battle Time Thursday and Friday, or Thursday and next Monday. So if you guys have any questions and want to go deep into policy, I'm happy to answer questions.
And lastly, Niha.
Thank you so much. So for VPFO role, it's very important to have someone who understands the budget and who understands the human relation in terms of that, who understands the students. So I really hope to earn the trust from the greater community for this year, and I hope that you give me that trust so that I'm able to stand with the trust. So thank you so much again, and vote Neha for VPFO March 5 and 6. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up for our candidates. We all have them clearly with all their policies. All right, so unfortunately we had just a 1-hour session. That means we are right on time, and unfortunately we didn't have the opportunity for you to ask your candidates the questions that you have for them. However, they have their tablings ongoing, and you do want to visit them with all your questions, as they also made mention of that. So to wrap up, I want to express our sincere gratitude to all of you for attending, to our candidates for that remarkable responses, and we wish you the best of luck. Do well to visit and also come here tomorrow for the community reps and also get to listen to them. And do not forget to vote on the 5th and 6th of March, because your vote is your power. You get to make the decision. Thank you, and then see you tomorrow. And do not forget to enter the draw.